Today, I hope you are having a nice time. And in this video, we are going to continue on linear equation. From where we stop, in our last class, we look at, in our previous classes, we look at linear equation of this form, ax plus b equals to y. And we also look at the linear equation of the form ax plus b equals to cx plus d. These are the two types of linear equations that we have actually looked at. So I'll specify the procedure to follow if you are resolving a linear equation of this form, and as well as the number 2 over there. In this class, we are going to look at two other forms of linear equations and how to resolve them. There are so many of them, but we are going to take them bit by bit. So in this class, we are going to look at steps involved in resolving linear equation of these forms. One, the linear equation of the form a over x is equals to b, and ii x over a is equals to b. So if we are confronted with this type of linear equation, so how do we resolve them? That's what we're typically going to look at in this video. So here, in the first one here, which is a over x is equals to b. Please take note where a and b are constants. Constants. So, and here our coefficients. The coefficient of x, which is the unknown here, is also a. So here we are going to look at how do we resolve this. The first thing, if you are confronted with this kind of linear equation, this is what you do first. The first steps, step 1. Step 1 is separate the constant term, which is now a, from the unknown term, unknown term. That's the first thing you do. You separate it. 2, step 2, then identify the unknown term. Then step 3, identify the constant term. Not on the side of the unknown term. Then step 4. Find the reciprocal of the unknown term and the constant term not on the side of the unknown term. Then the final step, which is step 5, multiply both sides by the result in step 4. So if you are confronted with this kind of linear equation of this form, a over x is equals to b, where x is the unknown term. Now the first thing you do is to separate the constant term, which is a, from the unknown term. You have to separate them with multiplication. Okay, step 2, identify the unknown term. Step 3, identify the constant term not on the side of the unknown term. Then step 4, find the reciprocal of the unknown term and the constant term not on the side of the unknown term. Then step 5, multiply both sides by the result in step 4. So those are the steps we are going to follow. These steps, you will just arrive at your answer. Just a very simple something. So before you can understand this video very well, please do watch my previous video on linear equations. So the introduction on linear equation, you have to look at that video thoroughly. So that will enable you to understand what we are doing here. Okay, that's the first one. Now quickly, let's follow these steps and see how we can resolve a linear equation of this form. Okay, so basically we are going to look at an example. Example 1. Solve the equation 60 over y is equals to 5. So if you are faced with this kind of situation, how do you resolve it? It's very easy. So here, like I said, the first step here is these are our equations. Now the first step here is that we should separate the constant term. The constant term here, the a here is 6, and the unknown term here. So here, this one simply means 1 over y times 5 times 60 is equals to what? Is equals to 5. That's the first thing we do. have to separate it. That's what we have there. So the step 2 say that we should identify the unknown term. So the unknown term here, the unknown term is 1 over y. The unknown term is 1 over y. Then Step 3 specify that we should find the constant term not on the side of the unknown. So the side of the unknown is this. So the constant term on the side, not on the side of the unknown, is 5. So the constant term not on the side of the unknown is equal to 5. So we have identified it. And step 4 specify that we should find the reciprocal. We should find the multiplicative inverse of what we have here, of this and this. Now this is 1 over y. Then what will be the reciprocal of 1 over y? The reciprocal of 1 over y, like I said, for you to obtain the reciprocal of any number, you just invert the number. So the y will be at the numerator, y1 will be at the denominator. So here, the reciprocal of 1 over y is what? Is y. And that of 5, the reciprocal of 5 is what? This one simply means 5 over 1. So the reciprocal will simply match what is in the denominator. You write it in place of numerator. They will do exchange. Numerator will go to denominator. Denominator will become the numerator. So that is the meaning of reciprocal or multiplicative inverse. So here will now be 1 over 5. So our step 5 say that we should multiply both sides by the result we obtain from step 4. So the result of step 4 is this, is y, comma what? 1 over 5. So we're going to multiply it. So here will now be y times 1 over 5. What we already have here is 60 over y is equals to y times 1 over 5 times 5, which is already a y. We used y times 1 over 5 to multiply both sides now. So we say you should use this term, this quantity, to multiply both sides. And if you do that, this is what will usually happen. This y will definitely go with y. Here, 5 will go with 5. And what we left here is 1 times 60 is 60. And at our denominator, we'll just have 5 here. And what we have here is what? Y. Of y. So we are asking ourselves how many group of 5 are contained in 60. So if you look at this, we can use short division method. We can rewrite this that y is equals to how many 5 are contained in 60. So 5 in 6 is 1, remainder 1. Write it here. You cross this, you bring this 0 attached to it, becomes 10. How many 5 are contained in 10 is 2. So here you see, therefore y is equals to what? Is equals to 12. This is a very simple way of handling a linear equation of this form. A over x is equals to what? Is equals to b. Where your a and your b are constants, and the x here is, we regarded the x here as the unknown term. So that is one approach. You know, I specify 2 here, specify 2 linear equations and the step that we need to follow. So I've specified this one, and I've also put the format, the procedure down, and we'll use it to resolve this equation. So the next one is linear equation of this form. We're going to look at the next example, the linear equation of this form. So if you want to check here, 60 divided by 12, definitely it will give us 5. So we are very correct. So the solution to this equation is 12. Now quickly, let's look at the steps that we need to follow if we have a linear equation of this form. Linear equation of this form, x over a is equals to what? B. So the step not quite different, but just a slight difference there. The first step here is step 1. Separate the constants. Okay, separate the coefficient. The coefficient of the unknown from the unknown term, like the one we did in our previous, the one we just finished. Okay, that's the first thing you do. Then step 2, identify the unknown term. Identify the unknown term. Then step 3, okay. Step 3, we have to identify the coefficient of the unknown term. Coefficient of the what? Of the unknown term. Then step 4. Find the multiplicative inverse which is the same thing as the reciprocal. Of the coefficient of the unknown term. Okay, then the last step, step 5, multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the coefficient of the unknown term. So if we follow this step, first of all you have to separate the coefficient of the unknown terms from the unknown term, then identify the unknown terms, then identify the coefficient of the unknown term. Then step 4, find the multiplicative inverse, which is also the reciprocal of the coefficient of the unknown term. Then step 5, multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the coefficient of the unknown term. So you multiply both sides by the result obtained from step 4. So the result obtained from step 4, use it to multiply both sides. This one is very, very straightforward. So now let's look at example on this. Let's look at example. Solve for x if 3, okay, simply if x over 5 is equals to minus 12. Okay, so our equation is this: x over 5 is equals to minus 12. So the first step is specify that we should separate them. So here we have 1 over 5 times what? X. That is the meaning of x over 5. Mean 1 over 5 times x. That is the meaning of this x. So is it? That is, we have done that. That is step 2. Then step 2 say that we should identify the unknown terms. The unknown terms here now is x. Then step 3 say we should identify the coefficient of the unknown term. So the coefficient of x is 1 over 5. Please let's take note. The coefficient of x here is 1 over what? 5. Then our step 4 say that we should find the reciprocal of the coefficient of the unknown term. So this is the unknown term, the coefficient of the unknown term. Let's look for the reciprocal of 1 over 3. So what will be the reciprocal of 1 over 3? So it will become 3 over 1, which also means what? 3. So we have done that. You see, step 5 says that we should multiply both sides. Multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the coefficient of the unknown term. So the reciprocal of the coefficient of the unknown term is what? 3. Say we're going to use it to multiply both sides. Please. It's 5. Okay. This is 1 over 5. And here we have 5 over 1, which is the same thing as 5. So we are going to multiply. Please, I'm very sorry for that. We are going to multiply both sides by 5. So we come here, we say this is 5 times x over 5 is equals to 5 times minus what? 12. So that this one will go with this. Here we'll be left with what? With just x. 5 times minus 12 will give us minus 60. So therefore x is equals to what? Minus 60. So the solution to this equation is minus 60. So it is minus 60 that divide 5 to give you minus 12. Please, the essence of this class is for her to know how to resolve a linear equation of different forms. And in order for you to do very well, like I always said in the previous video, you must be able to know or understand the meaning of additive inverse and multiplicative inverse. It's very key if you want to do well in this topic. So the concept of additive inverse and multiplicative inverse is very imperative here. It will not only help you in resolving linear equation, but when you come to problem on change of the subject of the formula, is very important there. So it's key that you know those two aspects: the meaning of coefficient, inverse, additive inverse, and multiplicative inverse. So I will leave you here. In our next class, we will continue from here. So quickly, we have looked at how to resolve linear equations of the form a over x is equals to b, as well as the one that has to be s over a is equals to what? B. So the procedures are very straightforward. So if you follow them systematically, you can't miss it. Please do well to always subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also help me get this video across to other platforms. There might be people who are very interested in it. Please do that. I love you all. Thanks.